Well, the first time I met John was after John Nichols here hired me to be his law clerk. And so I think that was in 1997. So he was a lawyer at Suggs and Kelly, and I was hired as a summer law clerk after my first year. And John Nichols assigned me to John Kassel.
I knew about John Kassel before I actually met him. When I first moved back to South Carolina, I heard about this amazing person who had worked for the Brown Lung Association and then went to law school and eventually got to meet him.
I think what motivated John to attend law school was being a VISTA volunteer. And in that role, he grew up in Washington, D.C., and his first time coming down south was really coming down to work in these plants beside factory workers who had been diagnosed with COPD as a result of inhaling cotton dust and unsafe working environments. And when he was doing that, he met a lot of great lawyers who were advocating for these workers, and he saw the change that lawyers can bring about. And I think shortly thereafter, that's when he decided to go to law school and advocate from a different side, not just as a community organizer, but as a lawyer.
He really cares about what he does and who he helps and the result that he gets for folks. It's part of his character that he adopts, so to speak, his clients. He gets into their lives, into their families. One case in particular, the beach bungee case, is just one of those cases that he would not give up. He just would not give up because he knew that what he was doing was right.
There has never been 1 minute or 1 hour where I've ever doubted that he was going to do the right thing. And nobody was going to work harder than him. No one was going to out-advocate for him. No one was going to know the facts of the law better than he was. But he was going to do it all with honor. And that is such a gift to practice with somebody like that. One other example I give about what really makes John a remarkable lawyer is how he not just works a case for a family, but also stays with that family for the duration. And John Nichols mentioned the bungee case a little while ago, and that involved the death of 2 young boys, and it was heartbreaking. And last year, John traveled to Indiana to be with the family on the 25th anniversary of the death of those boys. Or it was a case that a family was hit head-on a head-on collision on the interstate, and their 3-year-old child was paralyzed from the waist down. And he worked the case beautifully and settled it very favorably for the family, but he also then took a portion of his fee and helped and donated to Limitless Sports, which is an organization for children who are paralyzed, sports organization. So he does things like that. He puts his money where his mouth is. And that 3-year-old child went on to graduate from this law school. So she has done remarkably well, and John went to her wedding. He has been involved throughout her life, not just when the case is over or just when the settlement has been paid. And I think that's really who he is as a lawyer. One of the things that I think has made John such a role model for so many people is that not only is he a fantastic lawyer, but nothing comes before his family. And I saw that when the kids were growing up with Patricia, his wife of many, many years, who is wonderful, and Susu, who is now grown up and getting married this year, and Jake. If they call, he's taking it and he's going to whatever they need or whatever they want. He is so proud of them.
One year he went to Machu Picchu. The main thing that he talked about from that trip was having Jake along and how wonderful it was that they got to share that experience together. He was just ecstatic about that. We went one time to a place in Kiowa, I think, or maybe it was down in Charleston where Susu was working, and he made sure that we couldn't go anywhere without making sure that we encountered Susu. John and Trish are like peas and carrots, and you just don't think of one without the other.
And for me, it was such a role model to say, you know what, you can be a really successful lawyer and be busy and advocate, but also put your family first. And that's what he's done.
I think John embodies the complete lawyer because he has not changed the way he looks at the law from the beginning of his practice. He looks at justice for everyone, and he pursues that in the way he practices law, how he practices law, and also he recognizes that there's many ways to give back. And John pursues that both in his private practice, but also in his public spirit. And I think if we saw all lawyers practicing that way, we could see so many people helped in our state that maybe don't always have access to it, that he looks at his clients as a whole person and doesn't just look at the narrow problem that they may present, but wants to ensure their lives are better. And so that is what a complete lawyer is about.
How does John embody the characteristics of a platinum complete lawyer? To get to platinum, you had to have been doing this for a while. So that's one way that he embodies it. So please make sure that stays in there. The other thing is that he's been consistent. John Kassel today is the same John Kassel I met in 1982, and he's the same John Kassel I worked with. I had the pleasure of working with from 96 to 2000. He's consistent, he's loyal, he's dedicated, and those are the characteristics I believe demonstrate a complete lawyer. I mean, he's also pretty smart. I just want to say one thing: shaken, not stirred.
He'll get that.
He'll get that. Every time I would see him at an event, he dresses impeccably. He wears red jackets and things like that. So that's why I call him James Bond.
He's gonna love that.